Hey everybody, this is Ramon Ray, founder of Smart Hustle Media at smarthustle.com. Thanks for joining me for what I know is going to be absolutely fantastically amazing interview with Jane Hanson. And we're going to talk today all about so far. What's up, Jane?
Hi there.
How we
are
show up.
you?
I am fantastic, Jane.
You know, the most important thing I tell my clients is to have energy.
Okay.
I don't got to tell you that, baby.
Well, thank you. Other things you probably will have to tell me, but thank you, Jane. I am who I am. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to have you here, Jane. And today, as I was just going to recap for my community, we're going to talk today, those listening, really about how you show up, how you communicate, how you speak, how you move, all these things. And maybe more. We'll see whatever Jane wants to talk about. But again, thanks for joining us. And if you're hearing my voice, watching this video, please give us a like, give us a star, give us a comment, give us a share, tell somebody else about it. Let us know if you something you don't like, quietly whisper it to me. Don't make it public and let me know. But again, everybody, welcome to smarthustle.com. Welcome to Smart Hustle Podcast.
That's very, very, very tricky. I have a question. What is that behind you? I guess that would be to your left.
To my left, okay.
Yeah, what is that?
Which thing here? Now I have a few things.
No, the big screen. The screen with all the.
Oh, I will tell you. And for those listening, so this one, well, there's a painting here that I commissioned, and then here is just a movable screen. That's it.
Oh, that's so clever.
Yeah,
see, that's the kind of thing people should do. I'm not in my usual setting, and I'm really, I'm so finicky about it. But because I'm staying at a friend's apartment for the day in New York City, and I have to be careful of what the signal and all that kind of stuff. And I'm just like, oh, it's not perfect, but whatever. It is.
Jane, listen, from your background, right, on TV, broadcasting to gazillions of people, perfect as it were is what we all expect. But I think in this world, as we've evolved to the world of what? A 2-inch screen, tweets and all that, it's evolved, you know, to a little different world. So, hey, I respect the art of perfection. I respect that fully.
But I think we should, especially today, be so kind to ourselves and allow us to be perfectly imperfect.
I like it. And why, Jane? Why perfectly imperfect? Talk on that more. What are you saying to the, let's dive right into to the accountant or the therapist or the whoever they are trying to do their first video, trying to do their first audio. What does that mean to you when you say imperfectly perfect?
Well, for example, the main thing that we want to do in any kind of content, video content in particular, because obviously that's what I do, is help people with their content. What is really important is that we be authentic and genuine, because I am telling you something, this little lens up here, this thing knows when you're not being authentic, just like the television camera back in the studios at NBC when I worked there for all those years. Right. So bottom line is maybe something's gone wrong, but instead of apologizing for it and getting all rattled and being all upset, what we need to do is say, can you believe that just happened? But I got to carry on. It's not quite that stiff British upper lip thing, but it is saying, I won't use the word, but blank happens. Right. And when it does, we just need to be able to maneuver through it with grace and with acknowledgement. And I guess that's what I mean, because especially now, I mean, hell, we have all been put through all kinds of stuff, some of us more so than others in the last few months. And so to expect perfection on top of all of that, forget about it. Yeah. It ain't fair to any of us.
That's true. So what do you say, Jane? I'm curious, what have you told your clients? Let's put it that way, because you do media training and you help people in this world. What do you say to your clients that say, Jane, no, wait. Jane is not ready. Wait. Jane, the coffee cup's not right. Jane, wait, the flowers are not. No, wait, Jane, we're not ready to record yet. What do you say to that client? How do you help them? Or what do you say to them as you're helping them to say, Fred or Bob or Melissa or Mindy, we got to move on and it's okay. Any guidance on that?
Well, I think I'm a big believer in prep, really good prep. Winston Churchill once said, failing to prepare is preparing to fail. So I like to think about doing things ahead of time. Okay. For example, I've usually, in my home, I have created sets around the house. And what I do with clients is I will physically have them, maybe they're making a great presentation, they're going to be interviewed in the media, maybe they're making a video for their company, for their website, whatever it is they're doing. I physically have them take their laptop when we walk around their house. And I say, stop, let's see what that looks like. Here's some great lighting. Here's a place where absolutely do not use that. Get out of your bedroom, man. So I really work with them to try to get that part of everything settled long before they ever go to actually do it. I'm a coach, so you get rid of all, get rid of all the bad vibes, get rid of all this, the fear, all the insecurities. That's what I help you through. So the more I can help guide that in the process, that's how it works. I think when I say prepare, I mean, I want you to think about, what are you going to say? How are you going to say it? And in what setting are you going to say it in? Then who is your audience? Because some audiences, depending on what you're doing, might be more important than others. Right. If you're talking to your big boss and that presentation may mean that you can actually get a promotion of some sort, or they're going to put you on a new project, or they're going to say, wow, this person has really stepped up to the plate. You got to make sure that one's right on target. If you're doing a Zoom call with your family, it ain't quite so important that it be perfect.
So you can show up a bit late, be informal, say, wait a minute, I got to change the baby. You guys hold for 2 minutes. No problem.
Right. Exactly. However, you can also still do that with the boss if there's an issue, because we all know we're working from home or something like home right now. That's true. So there are more flexible, thank God. So.
No, for sure. And Jane, you mentioned about knowing who you're speaking to as well. I guess that would mean, for example, we hear in corporate America, different types of bosses and et cetera, knowing that if I'm speaking to someone who's very detailed, I guess I need to have every answer as it were ready, versus I'm speaking to someone who they just want the 2 points, the meeting is 7 minutes and we're done. Is that an example of that? Knowing whether audience and whatever, male, female, or even the type of person they are. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And that again gets back to this notion of prep. What's been interesting? This just reminded me of it. I've been working with a lot of clients, helping them with presentation training and media training. And sometimes I will have 3 or 4 people on a call. None of those people have actually met in person, and they're working for the same company because they've all been hired in the last 8 or 9 months. I mean, can you imagine you've never met this person in person, or sometimes maybe you haven't really met the big boss and now you're on a Zoom call with them. So you got to figure out what makes this person tick, because the more you can relate to them, the better it's going to be. Having great communication skills is about being relatable, being connected, and having a certain amount of empathy and understanding. There's one of the quotes I use in every single training I do comes from Maya Angelou, which is, people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did. People will never forget how you made them feel.
Yeah, that's very true. And I'm curious, I want to come back to this aspect of a relatability, if I remember, so you remind me, Jane, but I want to go back one more level. Is there a difference between media training being as good as one can be on television, on radio interviews, and versus, I should say, presenting? Do you, in your world and as you advise clients, can there be a difference? Are they similar, different? How do you distinguish differences, if there are any? How do you see that?
There are differences.
Okay.
End of the day, communication is communication.
Okay.
And again, that relatability, that approachability, that connection is equally as important in both presentation and media training. The difference in the media part of it is that it's much quicker. You got much less time, so time is of the essence. B, a typical media report in any media platform is not going to be very long, so you've got to have shorter, more succinct answers. C, when you think about what are reporters looking for, they're looking for controversy, conflict, tips. They want to be entertained. And the engagement has to be absolutely amplified, even greater than it is in a presentation. For presentations, we have to be sure that we have very, very, very clear points, which you also have to do in the media part of it. But with the presentation, there's an opportunity because they're longer by their very nature. They're probably, your audience is different. It's going to be very, very precise. It's going to be maybe your peers, maybe your bosses, maybe some clients or would-be clients. Maybe it's to an industry group. There's going to be a much more kind of defined audience than there might be for a media interview. So you can prepare and customize for that audience a little bit better than you can for the media. But you also still need to know who your audience is in the media. For example, we all know that there are, I know this is going to shock you, but there are broadcast platforms that have leanings.
Oh, no, I didn't know. No, Jane, really?
So if you're not, you know, you're going to be on Fox versus on MSNBC, know the audience.
Sure. No, you're right. And I think it's, what do you think of this, Jane? It seems to me in presentations versus media, from my experience, but you know this more than I do, is a bit of a show to some degree versus a 60-minute presentation. It still could be a show. That's my style, but you own the stage. It's 60 minutes. It's all you. Then you leave time for Q&A and you're gone. You still have to communicate clearly, as you said, but it seems like media or TV, especially the shorter, there's a little bit of that showmanship or show ladyship. As you said, the sound bites or quotes. Is that also a difference that maybe one may want to note?
You want to be memorable.
Yeah.
You really want to be memorable. And what's interesting is somebody might come and do a, maybe they'll do a 20-minute interview with you that they're putting on video, and then they're going to go back and edit it. Believe it or not, that longer form interview, you actually need to be more concise in, because that piece may end up actually, that segment may end up being 1.5 minutes long, which means out of that 20-minute interview they did, they're going to use 10 seconds, 2 10-second sound bites of you. So you can't say things like, well, when we first started this program, what really happened is blah, 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 blah. Right. You have to say the program is important for this reason. Yes. And so you have to be very, very concise and just think in sound bites. You really do. When you're doing a live interview or you're going to be a guest in a talk show or something like that, it's a much longer interview. So you can elaborate a bit more. My trick is everybody always, and this is true for any time you're communicating. What's your headline? What do you want people to take away? Walk out the door with, walk off the Zoom call with thinking, if it's just one thing. So, and then prove it with 3 different points. So you can say, what I really love about Ramon's show is that he's energetic, full of life, and gives me great information. And then I go, yeah. And then I can say he's energetic because he's passionate and he really believes in what he's doing. He gives great information because of blah. So now, so you've got your headline and then you elaborate. So therefore it gives editors a great chance to be able to just use one part or all of it.
Yeah, no, that is powerful, Jane. I'm curious, is that, going back to your media training, what you do for clients, is that one of the difficult parts, especially for those who are not trained, where, and I have a friend of mine in mind, you ask him, let's say he's the inventor of these scissors. So Bob, tell us about the scissors that you invented. Well, you know, Jane, as he sits back and get ready to, to think about life. Yeah. When I was a little boy in 19, and to your point, there's been no soundbite, no bullet point. So is that a hard part for those who are not used to it, to teach them, just say, when I was small, we had no food, we had to make scissors. Right, is that hard for them to train people?
Well, you know what the problem is that especially like the founder of a company, let's say, and I'm working with them for, maybe they're going to make a presentation in, in front of would-be investors, or maybe they're going to go on CNBC. And it's like, they can't see the trees for the forest because they know so much. They know every aspect of that company. Right. And one of the hardest things for them to do is to answer the following question. What do you do?
Yeah.
Because what they don't understand is that's their key message. If that's what they're trying, if they're trying to sell it, so they have to say, if I say, what do you do? And basically the guy with the scissors says, I make the most amazing scissors you have ever used.
Yeah.
Then later he can say, when I was a little kid, you know, we never had scissors in our house and blah, 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 blah. But you gotta start with what you want them to take away.
Yeah, that is so powerful.
And then you can't say it too many times. I don't know if you're going to be able to read this because I don't have a sharp enough pen.
Tell me, it's okay.
Can you see these two?
Yes.
Can you see what I put up here?
Nine times 1 and 3 times 3.
What's 9 times 1?
9.
No. In messaging math, it's 0. What's 3 times 3?
9.
1, maybe 2. And my point is, if you have 9 messages and you say them each one once during the course of a presentation or an interview, nobody remembers any of them. But if you have 3 messages and you repeat them in various ways throughout the course of whatever you're doing, they'll remember 1, maybe 2.
Yes. Yeah, this is powerful, Jane. And I'm curious on the 3x3 issue and 9x1, segueing to something. I'm going to ask you a political question, Jane. Let's see if Jane can handle this political question. What do you say, Jane, to the influencers and others out there? And help me. You can help me ask this question better than I'm asking it. But what I'm trying to get to is that I'm the influencer. I'm not the subject of the story, and it's not about my company. There's a short amount of time. And I want to get in my website address. I want to get in what I do. I want to say, buy my phone, because it's getting ready to be over, Jane. They're getting ready to go to break and I'm going to be off. And I want them to say, I want to say my website. So how do you bridge the gap between, I'm a thought leader, that Jane, as it were, just interviewed me because she wants to know about how to remove snow during the winter. But yet I'm trying to get in, call 1-800, snow boys or whatever. Do you understand what I'm asking? How do you balance that? I'm trying to promote myself, yet I am a thought leader. They just want to talk about my expertise. How do you do that, Jane?
It's called bridging.
Okay.
And I want you to think of ATM machines.
Okay.
Acknowledge the question, transition back to your message. So they want to know about snow. And you say, or snow, whatever that example.
Snow removal.
Snow removal. So you can say, well, snow removal is crucial this time of year. But what I really want you to think about is if you're looking for the best snow removal possible, we have it because we use this system that nobody else has. And you can find out more at blah, 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 blah.
Got it.
So it's really, one of the reasons I started to do this work is because at NBC, people would come off the set out of the studio, off an interview, and they'd go, I didn't get to say what I wanted to say.
Right.
I'd go, not my problem.
Right.
I go, sorry, I led you down a garden path about things I wanted to talk about, and you never got back to what you wanted to say. And I'll tell you a little trick. We used to get, like, let's say there's some really big celebrity we wanted on, but they were pretty much not willing to do a lot of interviews. All of a sudden, they got a book. Now they want to sell that book.
Of course.
Now, we don't give a darn about the book, but it's our excuse to get them on. We get them on. I hold up the book and I say, here's blah, blah, blah's book. And it's a great read. And I love chapter 24, but I got to ask you something. Did you really do that thing in Hong Kong? And so now, and they start to talk about it. They barely get back to the book. But by the way, I've already shown the cover. So big deal. So it's really thinking through, how do I make sure I get back to what my main message is? Because if I don't give my message, what I'm there to talk about, it's a completely missed opportunity.
Yeah. And Jane, can I confess something to you? This is going to be bad, Jane, but I have to make a confession.
Do you want to talk quietly so nobody hears?
Yeah, let me talk. Let me talk quietly. I love this, Jane. We really should do a show like we talked about in an earlier call. But yeah, I have thought that media training, Jane, I mean, I know it's useful. I have friends in the industry now. I have you as a new friend who do media training, but I'm like, really? Media training? Who needs that? But as I'm hearing you speak, Jane, I'm realizing this is a discipline. This is something you have to practice. This is not something, even if you're good at communicating, that you can talk pretty well. When you have 3 minutes, it takes practice, I'm guessing, with a Jane, right? To give the message, give the bullet points, give the soundbite, maybe give a small little pitch about you. All that is an art, is what I've been in this business for a while, as you know myself. But as I'm hearing you, I'm like, wow, this is serious business if you want to do it well every time, especially if you're on CNBC or CNN or Fox, whatever it is, on a regular basis, or even podcast interviews, radio. Is that right?
It's absolutely true. It's like people spend hundreds, if not thousands of dollars on their golf swing.
Mm-hmm.
They will spend so much money taking instrument lessons. They will do all kinds of things to perfect things they love to do. But they don't spend money on something as simple as how do I communicate well? And the problem is all it takes is one screw up that can cause you a lot of trouble. And the problem is in today's world where we've all got these, you can be taped, photographed. There can be so much that can happen that may not even be true, but it's going to show up and you have to know how to deal with it. So I work with a lot. One of my favorites now is working with like these new fintech companies or these startups that have got amazing technology. I mean, the stuff these people are thinking up and doing, it's just like, whoa, man, that's so cool. But sometimes they're complicated and hard to explain.
Tell me about it.
Yeah. And then sometimes they're like, they're so close and they're so smart. I mean, geniuses can be the hardest people to work with because they're way up here and I'm kind of right here, but I'm more like everybody else than they are. So we got to get it so it's understandable and simple. And if you don't invest the time in making that good, it's not going to work very well. And if you've and you blow it on one show, like let's say you do get an opportunity you've got this great new business and you have an opportunity to go on, one of the major financial shows like a CNBC or a Bloomberg or, Fox Business or something like that. And if you blow that interview, they ain't inviting you back.
Right. That's right.
And so you just, why wouldn't you take the opportunity to make yourself the best you can be? You worked your heart out to get, to create this, whatever the business is. And here you are blowing it because you couldn't talk about it very well.
Yes. Yeah, no, you're so true. And I think it's funny you said that, going back to the person who's, has all the business. I think companies like Facebook and Google, Tesla, you people, meaning your peers in industry, Jane, you guys will always have them on, right? Tesla, Amazon, the White House. They don't need to ask for publicity. They'll always be, no matter what they say, even if they screw up. But it's the scissor guy. So what is a scissor? Well, we have a titanium carbide. If you look really, he's gone 45 minutes about done. So to your point,
when all he needed to do was take that scissors and a piece of paper and go, do you see how clean that cut? No other scissors does that. And then, and by the way, it was my great grandfather who first designed this. I'm so happy. You give them a couple of little images, you create this thing in their mind. They're going to go, what was that scissors again that cut that amazing piece of paper? Hey, Myrtle, what was that? We got to get that.
I like the accent. That is so true, Jane. And I know people can find you, Jane, and your media training. What we'll do, we'll have it on the show notes and other places at, I believe, the best place, janehanson.com. Is that the best place to go?
That's my website.
Great. Okay. And I know you do an amazing IG story. I don't know if it has a regular cadence. Is it regular?
My Curious Jane.
Yeah.
I do them on Tuesdays and Thursdays. But I'm not doing one this Thursday because I've got a very large scale project I'm working on. And I just, I guess making the almighty dollar had to take place instead of the show tomorrow. What can I tell you? But I make it up to people. And that's one of those things I just started doing during the pandemic because, when the world fell apart and business was completely lost, I thought, well, I like to talk.
That's right.
I like to talk to people. I like to interview them. And I can use my phone and maybe I can help other people's businesses by talking to them and, cheer people up or whatever.
Yeah. No, and you do it so well, Jane. I think it's amazing that I have a few friends of mine in the industry who've been on TV or anchors. And I find, at least those who I don't know, I've gotten to know you. You're a very warm and an amazing person, but they look scary on TV. Like, we're hearing that Jane Hanson's coming to our house or coming to our birthday party. You're like, that lady who I see on the box, like she's going to be just, hi, I'll take tea, please. But, they're real people. They have to do a job to do on TV. But, when I was on your show, Jane, I'm like, wow, I don't know, like, this is Jane, but you're amazing. You're human. You're fun. And that's awesome.
Thank you. And you dressed up for me so beautifully.
Thank you. You're very welcome. But Jane Hanson, it's been so great speaking to you. By the way, anything I didn't ask you or anything you wanted to say before we come to the final end of this amazing discussion? Anything I didn't ask or didn't that you wanted to say?
I just want people to, if there's anything that I can say during this whole awful time that we've been going through, is really believe in yourself and hold everybody tight that you love and reach out. I've had more fun doing Zooms and Instagram calls and FaceTime and connecting with people than I have in years, because all of a sudden I just recognize how important they all are to us.
Yes.
And the communication is the key to that. Just reach out. It's the best thing ever.
Yeah. So
just do it. Wait, I heard that before.
I love it. Jane, listen, we will end on those inspiring words. And once again, this has been Jane Hanson. You can check out all things Jane Hanson, her media training and more at janehanson.com. And my name is Ramon Ray with Smart Hustle Media at smarthustle.com. Give us a like, give us a review, give us a comment, share this with somebody else.